is time. It is time to brew your best beer.
The 2017 SJPorr Challenge Gold sponsors: Bouncer, keeping the dregs out with their inline filter for homebrewers. The Brew Bag, simply the best way to brew great beer in your home. Yakima Valley Hops, with over 140 hop varieties available. Omega Yeast Labs, supplying homebrewers with high-quality yeast. And a special thanks to our silver sponsor, BrewTubers Online Brewers Club.
Clemens Homebrew coming at you with the last of my 2017 SJPorr Challenge beer reviews, round one. This one is 78F, 37S, 83E. I'd say this is a crafty little individual right here, and I'll tell you why. All of the entries were pretty much pale ales, IPAs, and double IPAs. Now, they kind of weren't far from that, but far enough. This is an Imperial Black IPA. That's right. They made a BIPA, Black IPA, an Imperial one at that, 9% ABV. They made it with two-row, chocolate, Carafa 2, and Crystal 80. And then for adjuncts, they used dark candy sugar. So they got very creative. And they used White Labs WLP 001. So this says that, to me, with these ingredients, they came up with a creative way to present them that would give a very unique flavor from everyone else. And for my personal note, it kind of, I find that the black IPAs kind of often do much better with Centennial. It brings an earthiness that works well with these darker beers. All right, I'm going to pull this up. Look at this. Look how this is pouring. All right, there we go. That is one beautifully dark head. Look at that. That is one dark mocha head on there. Full finger, if not a finger and a half. And it is black as night. I'm just telling you, I don't see anything through that. I think it's just a super deep brown really in color, but you can't see a thing. Let's get the nose. Well, the nose doing a bit. It's interesting. You got the candy sugar in there, although I tell you what, in the nose to me, I felt like I was getting molasses, which is interesting. I can almost taste it. I get a little bit of that chocolate note on there, and I get a little bit of the molasses note on there right away. Wow, it just smells so dark, which it is, and I get a little bit of that candy sugar effect. The hops have just really, to me, are more on the earthy side of it at this point. It's interesting. I might get a note of Cascade on there, I thought, but it just comes across as very dark. So as far as black IPAs go, to me, it feels like it's going to be possibly a little chocolate, but very much on the dark side. Let's see. It's just a lot of flavor notes. Oh, wow. And then a big change at the end. All right. Well, I got to take another sip. On the front side, it's sweet, and you get some of that candy sugar. You get a bit of that chocolate on it. The middle kind of, you feel like some of the earthiness comes out, and you get this really dark. I mean, it feels like really dark malts. More than what I'm just seeing here. It just feels much darker. I would have thought there was some black patent on it or something. But then on the back side, this really strong bitterness comes out. It's not harsh, but it's a strong bitterness. And I think a lot of it has to do with the bitter character from the hops. Yeah, it feels like there's just a little bit too much dark malts on this, and it also feels like the carbonation is a little high. I'm going to give this a swirl and see what happens. Oh, sure enough, the head that had dissipated just built up to as big as it was at the beginning. So another beer that was a little bit over-carbonated. I'm going to take a few notes. I'm going to come back again. All right, so I've noted a few things. One, every time I swirl this, I mean, it seems like the head builds up. And I've done this multiple times, so it's not going to build up as much. Although there's some fun parts about this. It leaves a bit of lacing on there, which is kind of fun. I love that aspect. So a little over-carbonated, I would say. Then the other thing that's interesting is just really the whole quality as you taste it. So when you first taste it, you get this nice light sweetness with the chocolate, the molasses, a bit of that candy sugar, a little bit of the roast quality coming in. In the middle of the mouthfeel, the roast quality picks up. You get some coffee flavors. The coffee starts coming in pretty early end of that, and then it moves towards more of a bitter coffee and a bitter roast. And at the back side, a lot of bitterness comes in. So I assume that's the hops. I'm not sure what else that might be. So you've got this beautiful taste up front, and then it ends, unfortunately, on a bitter note, right? The mouthfeel is very nice. It's a medium mouthfeel. It's very good. It's a fine carbonation, although too much of it. But overall, I mean, this is a pretty fun beer. It needs to be refined. And of course, sometimes you've got some constraints on what you can do in terms of the recipe with this challenge. So that can always be challenging. But a fun beer overall. I'm really enjoying it. Here it is again. It's the 78F 37S83E. This one might just go forward. This, Kevin, I'm concluding round 1, for me anyway, of the SJPorr Challenge 2017. We'll catch you later. Cheers.